Africa, the land of great opportunity, a continent brimming with life. Since the dawn of man, this land has been sought after for its riches, breathtaking landscapes, and the greatest wonders man has to offer. A continent with a myriad of geographical regions, from the scorching deserts of the Sahara, the rich greenery of the Central African jungle, to the open canopy of the African savanna. Although Africa is a land of great opportunity, it is also a painful reminder of man's darkest reality. As of 2024, an estimated 429 million Africans live below the poverty line. In a continent with a population of approximately 1.4 billion, this would mean that close to a third of Africans are living in extreme poverty. Adding to these numbers, nearly 418 million Africans also lack basic levels of water service. And with the continued drought that is currently affecting Africans, these numbers will inevitably increase. Increased political instability has also led to 76 million being displaced, particularly in the country of Sudan, where the recent military conflict has led to 9.1 million people living on the run. A record-breaking number for a single country since records began. With so much heartache and despair, one might wonder if there's still any hope for this land of opportunity. But the first step to solving life's biggest obstacles is to first identify them. But first, I would like to share this African proverb with you. A little rain each day will fill the rivers to overflowing. The meaning of this adage is that our efforts, no matter how small, will eventually accumulate and lead us to a place where our goals have been achieved and the future of our people has been secured. My name is Abdullah Ibrahim. Let's talk about Africa. In order for us to fully understand the situation that the Africans are in today, let's first identify the state of affairs. In 2015, the United Nations committed itself to the Sustainable Development Goals in its efforts to end global poverty. Its goals include improvements in health, education, equality, economic development, and environmental improvements by 2030. However, at this point in time, Africa is not on track to meet its goals. As of 2023, Africa has the highest extreme poverty rates globally, with 23 of the world's 28 poorest countries residing in the region. Using the poverty line of $1.9 per day, Africa's extreme poverty rate was recently estimated to be about 35.5%. This rate is almost 7 times higher than the average for the rest of the world. High rates of unemployment, income inequality, and economic policies that sometimes fail to prioritize the needs of the most vulnerable citizens all play a role in the current state of poverty in Africa today. The current state of many African countries is also exacerbated by the lack of proper nutrition. With the increased inflation that has afflicted the planet after the Russia-Ukraine war, food prices have soared to record numbers in the last few years. This has had a lasting effect on the hunger crisis that many Africans face today. In West and Central Africa, it is estimated that nearly 55 million people struggle to feed themselves in the June to August period of 2024. This figure represents a 4 million increase in the number of people who are food insecure compared to the November 2023 forecast and highlights a fourfold increase over the last 5 years. Economic challenges such as currency devaluation, soaring inflation, stagnating production, and trade barriers have worsened the food crisis, affecting ordinary people across the region, with Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Mali being among the worst affected. Malnutrition in West and Central Africa is also alarmingly high for the region's youngest citizens. An estimated 16.7 million children under the age of 5 are acutely malnourished, and more than 2 out of 3 households are unable to afford healthy diets. In addition, 8 out of 10 children aged 6 to 23 months do not consume the minimum number of foods required for optimal growth and development. Political instability is another humanitarian strain on the continent. The recent conflict in Sudan has since its inception in April of last year displaced nearly 10 million Sudanese people, with recent estimates citing that 25 million are in need of basic humanitarian aid. The rapid escalation of this conflict has made it nearly impossible to sufficiently give those affected the proper aid needed, and it's also estimated that the funding needed to properly address this crisis is short by hundreds of millions of dollars. By the same token, in East Africa, Somalia is facing one of the longest and complex humanitarian crises in the world. Decades of poverty, armed violence, insecurity, political instability, natural hazards, and poor access to basic services and livelihood opportunities have devastated the lives of millions. Recurring climatic shocks, such as drought and flooding, drive thousands of people out of their homes each year. Ongoing conflicts affect protection of human rights and further hinder access to basic services. The recent flooding caused by the El Niño weather phenomena has displaced hundreds of thousands all across East Africa in the countries of Kenya, Burundi, Somalia, and Tanzania. This is in stark contrast to previous weather conditions of the region, where an increased drought had been observed due to a lack of rain during the rainy seasons. The region is therefore not fully equipped to deal with the increased rainfall and subsequent flooding. The funding needed to properly handle this crisis is also inadequate. And after all of this, you might wonder to yourself, is there still any hope of ever seeing these problems being resolved? And what can the collective do to reverse the tide? Well, as the saying goes, a problem well defined is a problem half solved. In order for us to solve the problems that the continent is currently facing today, we need to first identify these problems, acquire necessary knowledge surrounding these problems, and then use that acquired knowledge to find the best solution to tackle the obstacles that we face today. We also need to collaborate with each other in efforts that will contribute to the furtherance of the African people. Projects such as the Great Green Wall Initiative is another great example of this being put into fruition. A strategic plan set up in order to tackle the region's biggest problems and ensure the future advancement of the African people. So this is what we'll try to do with my channel and the videos that we're posting on here. I'm still very new to this process, so if you have any feedback or any video ideas, please feel free to share them down in the comments, and then I will get back to them. I still have a few ideas that I'm trying to flesh out, but I would greatly appreciate any feedback that you have on this video. Thank you so much again for watching this video, and until next time, take care of yourselves.